The top 5 herbs to get rid of mucus are, today we're going to talk about getting rid of that nasty phlegm. Right now is cold and flu season, and a lot of people have nasty phlegm that's green and yellow, which means there's an infection, and you just want to get it moving and get well and get better. Well, I've got you, because we have been dealing with that this year with all the cold and the wet, going back and forth also between really high temperatures in the 80s and 90s to really low temperatures. So we have been dealing with a lot of stuff. We're going to cover the top 5 herbs to get rid of it and eradicate congestion. So the first herb is thyme. And this is an herb that you can get at pretty much any store. Preferably if you can find organic, that's awesome. My store didn't actually have organic thyme, and it's really not a spice that I use all the time, but it is really good for congestion, and it's nice in a tea. Thyme helps to thin the mucus. If you have really nasty thick mucus, a thyme tea will really help to start thinning that mucus so that you can cough it up and get rid of it more effectively. It is also antibacterial, so that helps if you have like any type of bacterial infection that's causing the yellow and the green. This will also help to get rid of it. Another thing that this is really good at is preventing cough, is to help to soothe your cough. So if you're continually just hacking up stuff and coughing all the time where you can't sleep very well or you can't breathe very well, this is going to help thin the mucus so you can breathe, and it's also going to relieve that cough and cause some of that inflammation to go down. So thyme is the number 1 herb that really helps with coughing and getting rid of that congestion. The second herb that really helps is mullein, and this is one of my favorite herbs. So it is nice because it grows not in my area, but kind of around my area. When we go about 30 minutes away, we can find it growing wild. So it's a really nice when you can forage, and it's really pretty. But it is incredible for respiratory health in general. So that is an herb I always keep on hands. And if you want to watch this video up here, I have a whole video just entirely about congestion and how to get rid of congestion quickly, especially in children, so that they don't develop any type of pneumonia or serious conditions with their breathing. Molen helps the body to expel mucus, so it is an expectorant, but again, just like thyme, it is also soothing. So you're not going to have these like really hard spasms when you're using Molen. It is very soothing, and it helps bring down the inflammation as well. It is good for that consistent coughing. It can be good for a dry cough or a wet cough. You can use it for any type of chest congestion. You can take this in several different ways. You can take it as a tea. You can do 1 tablespoon of this in hot water as a strong tea, and it can help pretty quickly. And if you stay to the end of the video, I'm going to show you how we and our family mix up a couple of these different herbs to make a really nice tea that helps to get that mucus to come out a lot faster and for that infection to go away as well. Another thing you can do with Molen is you can take a tincture of it, and you would have to take about a half of a teaspoon, and you're going to take that every 3 hours or so. Most tinctures are alcohol tinctures, so you can just put in a little bit of water and take that down. That's also a nice way to take it. The third herb we're going to talk about today is star anise. And again, this is another spice that you can find probably in your kitchen cabinet. So if you're having a lot of congestion and you just want to get rid of it, go to your spice cabinet and see if you have some anise or some thyme. And I will show you at the end of how to make a tea out of those so that it actually tastes good. Maybe, depending on what your palate is like and if you're used to loose leaf teas. But something that would just help you to get feeling better really quickly. Anise is really interesting because it's really good for dry, unproductive coughs. So if you have a lot of mucus that's stuck in your chest and you can like hear it rattling around, but your nose is not running, nothing is actually coming, but you're laying down at night, or you have one of your kids that's laying down at night and they can't really breathe because you know the chest, you can hear it in their chest, but it's not coming up. Star anise is definitely the herb you're going to want to run to, because it is going to help thin that mucus, and it's going to help you to actually make your coughing and to bring that congestion up. It is really known for getting out that stuck, stubborn mucus, as well as another word we're going to talk about in a minute, which is number 4, also really helps stubborn mucus, but this one is good for that too. And it also has a lot of antioxidants. It has shikimic acid, and it also has quercetin, so it's also really helping your immunity and not just the coughing. It is anti-inflammatory, it is anti-spasmodic, and it also helps your stomach if you're having stomach issues. Along with the coughing or along with your cold, that's going to help it as well. So the fourth herb that is really interesting and is one of the new herbs that I started learning about 2 years ago is, and I'm probably saying it wrong, but I say it's Elecampne, and it's probably not how it's pronounced, but it is a really cool herb. And again, this herb, just like star anise, is incredible for bringing up just that stuck mucus. So like if I hear that my kids are just like, their nose is not running, but when I put my hand on their chest or on their back, I can feel, you know, the mucus that's in their chest. That I don't really like, and that scares me. And so this is definitely the tea, my number one tea that I go to, as well as star anise, depending on which child, because some of my kids don't like, star anise can be a little bit spicy. This one is not, and I like to pair it with peppermint because it really helps them two together and it makes it taste really nice. But this herb helps move mucus that is very deep out of the lungs. It is very antiseptic and antibacterial. And so if you have if you know that like the mucus is green or it's yellow, you know that for sure that there is an infection, Elecampne is an incredible herb because it helps to kill that infection as well. And it is really good taking as a tea or a tincture. Now, if you are allergic to flowers that are in the aster family, you would definitely want to be careful with this one because this is a part of the aster family. It is contradicted if you're pregnant or nursing. I personally have taken it as a tea in small doses whenever I'm nursing if I'm coughing, and I've not had any type of effects, but that is up to you and something maybe you would want to talk to your functional medicine doctor about if that is a good solution for your family. The fifth herb that we're going to talk about today is Horehound. Now, Horehound is a part of the mint family, but it is not like the sweet mint family, like the peppermint and the spearmint. It's a little bit of a bitter herb, but it is like one of the oldest remedies that we know. They used it back in ancient Egypt for coughs and things like that. So it is definitely a very old respiratory ailment. And if you look a lot of times in old candy, you'll see like Horehound drops or different cough drops have Horehound in them. And it's soothing for your stomach. It helps a lot with stomach issues, but it also really helps to bring down the inflammation in your throat and in your nose to be able to help that congestion to be able to flow. And it also thins the secretions as well. So it's also helping things to flow so that that mucus can get going out and it doesn't just stay stuck. Those are the top 5 herbs that we use in our family. Let's recap. Molen, thyme, star anise, Elecampne, and Horehound. Those are the 5 herbs that we use in our family that I found to be the most effective for getting mucus flowing and getting you well quickly. So now we're going to make a tea out of a couple of these herbs. So I have just some mullein leaves, and I have about 16 ounces of water in my pot. And my pot already has a strainer in here, so I'm just going to add it right into here. And if you don't, you can just put it in a bowl, mix it up, and you can use a tea bowl. But I got this on Amazon. Makes 32 ounces of tea. And then you can also, the base is over there, and you can also program it for the different features, whether you have green tea or black tea or herbal tea or a custom tea. So I really like that about it. And it is definitely, I got it for my birthday, and it is definitely one of my favorite gifts. It is really awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and add about a teaspoon or so of mullein. It's like half of a mullein leaf. And the next herb I'm going to add is the Elecampne. This is like a bark-ish. I'm going to add about half of a teaspoon of that. For thyme, I'm going to add a whole teaspoon of thyme. Depending on, you could just leave the tea as it is. If you have a really dry, unproductive cough and you might want to go ahead and add the star anise. It smells amazing, but it has a very strong licorice flavor, and some people like that and some people don't. So depending on who I'm making it for, I may not add the star anise or I may, but I'm just going to add one of the star anise in there. I'm going to set the temperature for about 175. You can add a little bit of honey to your jar. Preferably if you're sick and you're coughing, it's better not to use sugar or anything like that. Honey is definitely the best because it also has antibacterial, antifungal, and a lot of other properties that really help you to get well. So honey is definitely the sweetener of choice, and try to avoid sugar if you can, especially if you're sick. So then once your tea is done, pour it into your cup with your little bit of sweetener. So now you have a nice tea that can really help you to get feeling better very quickly. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed that video. So if you want to click the subscribe button and stay tuned for next week, because I'm going to show you how to make a DIY herbal Vicks salve that is just as effective as Vicks without the chemicals and the petroleum. But until then, have a great week. Goodbye, friends.